Keith Olbermann has called for a boycott of the NFL draft and also the Manny Pacquiao-Floyd Mayweather fight. And those are two events, sporting events, that of course are going to draw a lot of attention. People are already talking about the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. So what's his big issue with this? Well, it turns out that he has problems with sexual assault and domestic violence. And of course, when it comes to the NFL, it has been dealing with a lot of issues involving either domestic violence or sexual assault. And Floyd Mayweather has been convicted of some pretty terrible things in the past. So here's what Keith Olbermann had to say about this. The choices are about where we as sports fans, where we as human beings draw the line about domestic violence in this country. I will not promote, watch, nor report on Mayweather's fight. I will boycott it, and I urge you to as well. He also says that when you discover there are no other adults in the room, that the commissioners and the boxing organizations and the leagues are the money-hungry children, then by process of elimination, you have to become the adult. And we, the reluctant adults, we have to draw a line. Now, I want to be a little specific about the people that he was referring to. So Floyd Mayweather has been convicted of several charges in the past. In fact, sexual assault against women, domestic violence, and so, you know, that's 5 convictions in the last 14 years for the assault against women.
Ridiculous.
So that's pretty serious. And also, Jameis Winston is expected to be drafted into the NFL, and he has a shady past, to say the least. He was accused of sexually assaulting one of his female classmates. The case was dropped, and usually when a case is dropped, you just say, all right, well, there wasn't enough evidence to convict him, except the New York Times did this extensive investigation into the Tallahassee Police Department's investigation into the matter, and they found the following. They did not get a DNA sample from the victim, okay? They never interviewed Jameis about what occurred. Okay, the Tallahassee Police Department didn't even interview him. They never even obtained or tried to obtain a video of what happened from one of his friends. Apparently his friend filmed it, but the cops never asked for the video. Now, the New York Times said that the victim in this case had bruises on her knees and that she had, evidence of semen on her. But again, the Tallahassee Police Department did not obtain the DNA samples. So Keith Olbermann in this case is absolutely right. There are some ethical concerns, to say the least.
Oh, a lot of ethical concerns. It really gets under my skin, the fact that we don't stand with women and survivors like we should be, and that's why this happens over and over again. I actually saw some statistics which actually blew my mind because I didn't know this. It said 20% of college football recruits in the top 20 to 25 division have criminal records, and 1 of 3 of those athletes do some type of sexual assault or something while they're in college. So you know these men are doing this in college, and then you give them power and money and say, let's go into these fields, and then we're surprised when this is still happening when they're these big athletes.
Yeah.
And so what Keith is saying is, right, we need to shut this down, but unfortunately, those who have money are never going to allow that to happen.
That's a great point. And oftentimes when we talk about our justice system and how corrupt it is, we talk about how there's a 2-tier justice system. Yeah. If you come from a certain socioeconomic status, you get different treatment. You can also afford different things, different resources to help you fight any case. But when it comes to the world of sports, the 2-tier justice system has a lot to do with talent. If you're a talented athlete, there are people that are going to look out for you.
Exactly.
Now, in the case of Jameis Winston, I did a little more digging, and I found out that the police chief in that case for the Tallahassee Police Department had very, very close ties to the university that Jameis was playing at. So he has a vested interest to not actually pursue a real investigation. That's problematic, to say the least. So this is something that I'm really happy that someone like Keith Olbermann is raising awareness to. I've had my issues with him in the past, but it's brave of him as a sports fan and a sports reporter to say something like this on a platform for sports fanatics.
Yeah, definitely. I can speak to the Tallahassee Police because I actually attended Florida A&M University, and I remember there was a young lady who, during my freshman year, said that she had been raped, and by one of the guys in the frat. And when she went to the police were like, well, he's in my frat. I don't believe this happened. I know what goes on here. And so the police department did nothing about her rape. And I think eventually, you know, she just kind of like got intimidated and didn't say anything, which was really sad to me. And so what I would really love to see is maybe in this instance, the survivors starting to speak up a lot more, and those who support the survivors to encourage them to speak up, because of course we know nothing's going to happen. This draft is going to happen. The fight's going to happen. But maybe if these survivors spoke up more and those who are aligned with the survivors, maybe we can start seeing some change. Maybe have them say what they believe should happen to these men. Maybe something can happen.
Yeah, now more than ever, it's important for people to encourage survivors to come forward with their stories. And it's ultimately up to the survivors as to whether or not they want to press charges or go public with their story. But we live in this weird age where if you are someone who's been a victim of sexual assault or rape, people are skeptical and people will question you. And it's a really uncomfortable environment to be in. And so I think you're absolutely right about that. You know, one other point I want to make, out of all sporting events, I actually really enjoy boxing.
Same.
So I was planning on watching the Pacquiao-Mayweather fight just because it's going to be epic. And Keith Olbermann convinced me otherwise.
Yeah.
So
well, that's pretty good.
Yeah, a lot of credit to him for doing that.